Love this movie. This movie is terrible. Hey guys, we're back with another review. I just did my Amazing Spider-Man 2 review, so you guys can go check that out on my channel or whatever. But now we're going to talk about Maleficent. I just got back from seeing that, the 7 o'clock showing. Now, with Spider-Man 2 and Maleficent, I did not see either in 3D, but there's a lot of 3D shit in these movies. But, yeah, Maleficent. Just a full disclosure, I did actually rewatch the original Sleeping Beauty before I went into this one, and I like the first Sleeping Beauty. I think it's a really great Disney. It's one of the classic Disney movies. The villain is great. The scope of the movie in widescreen. This was the first big Disney movie in widescreen. It was fantastic. Princess Aurora, I find, is one of my favorite Disney princesses, and she's so pretty. But anyway, Philip, I like the whole classic go up to the tower and slay the prince and save the princess from a dragon. I love it. And this was kind of the start of it, and and I liked it. And the score is good, characters are great, and I give that one about I guess about a 7. Basically, but yeah, Sleeping Beauty, I saw that. So we're moving on to Maleficent, and I actually liked it. I thought it wasn't that bad for a retelling or a redo or whatever, like reimagining the story of Sleeping Beauty, or in this case Maleficent. They do a good job. It's interesting how they give us an alternate take on the character, because we always saw her as this conniving witch who just like hated everybody in the kingdom. But in this movie, you actually see some sympathy, and they turn her not into a hero, not into a villain, but an anti-hero. And it's interesting to see how that happened. And bottom line, Maleficent couldn't choose a better casting decision for that part. She is perfect in this role. Absolutely, 100%. She is Maleficent, and you couldn't choose any other. It's kind of like if you did a Thundercats movie. Honestly, you'd have to get Angelina Jolie as Chitara from Thundercats. It's kind of the perfect casting. Yeah, the plot is basically, it's the whole story of Sleeping Beauty, but told from Maleficent's perspective. And that's all I can really say. The things I liked: Angelina Jolie, perfect casting. The story, I thought it was a good retelling, and I like how they made King Stefan, who in the original cartoon was a lot more, nicer and shit, but in this case he's a fucking asshole. He's the villain. King Stefan, that's really interesting. And how it turns out him and Maleficent had a romantic interest, and then he just went in, backstabbed her, clipped her wings, and just said, I rule the kingdom now, fuck you. You were just a booty call. Or in this case, a pixie call. And then also there's Aurora, who, the Fanning, I forget which sister she is, but I remember seeing her in Super 8, and I really liked her. She's an incredible actor. Or actress in this case, and she still does really well here. She's perfect for Aurora, and I thought that was a nice bit of casting choice. Philip, of course, was just put in there because they have to make it like the cartoon. And he's there, he's all good, the actor's fine. The fairies were interesting because they went from the basic 3 main characters from the first movie, but turned them into basically, like Doug Walker said, the Three Stooges, where they're just the bumbling comic relief. And it was actually surprising that Dolores Umbridge was one of the fairies, the red one. And then also the special effects are really good. But back to Angelina Jolie quickly. I felt that she is so perfect in this role that you watch her in her face and in certain shots in the movie, and it's almost like the cartoon literally came to life. Like the character from the animated film came to life, and it looked perfect, and I actually felt, okay, now I'm officially watching a live-action version of a cartoon. I felt it was perfect. But the special effects were great. I mean, the acting's okay. I mean, Angelina Jolie's perfect. King Stephen is an okay actor. I mean, he's very Scottish. But he was alright. The fanning was really good. The fairies were fine. But everything is a fine movie, and it was a good alteration to the story. I'm trying to think what else I liked. I mean, I liked how they explained, like, this is kind of like what they're doing with fairy tales nowadays, is that they're talking about characters and explaining where this came from, or this, and how she got this, and so on. So, like, Robin Hood did the same thing, the Russell Crowe Robin Hood. But in this one, you know, we get to see where the crow came from. We get to see how, like, the reason why she's all pissed off. We get to see, okay, that's where that came from, the spinning wheel, and so on. And it was fun. The music was great. It actually, when I was listening to it, I thought, did Danny Elfman do this again? Because there's all those oohs and ahs from, like, Tim Burton movies. But no, it was James Newton Howard who did the score, and as he mostly does with fantasy movies, he does a good job. But it's a fun fantasy movie. I really liked it a lot. So now just quickly to the stuff I didn't like. Well, first of all, it's a very cliched and a bit cheesy at times. It's got a lot of humor that's just like, haha, that's kind of funny. And then there's, like, cliches that you're just like, I'm getting so sick of that. I'm getting very, very sick of that cliche. Like, for example, the one thing that's been happening with fairy tale movies I've noticed is that if you watch a fairy tale movie, what happens to the girl? She either falls asleep and the prince kisses her, and that will break the spell. And it's always the true love's kiss. Well, basically, every time a prince tries to kiss the princess, it fails, and it's always somebody else. Like, if you watch Snow White and the Huntsman, it's the huntsman that kisses, that wakes the Snow White, not the prince. And then the same thing happens with this movie. You have the prince who tries to kiss him, and it doesn't work, and the big shocker is that it's Maleficent who kisses her, and it works. Now, I get what they're saying, you know, there's not a better true love's kiss than of a mother or whatever, but you know what? She's not really her mother, and I saw a little bit of lesbian action going on there. I don't know. I think Disney's doing a little bit of a risque move there. But I digress on that. I felt like, maybe like, I don't know, like, some of the special effects and stuff were, I mean, again, they were okay, but a lot of creature designs, it looks like they were ripped straight from, like, Avatar or Spiderwick Chronicles. They were like those stock fantasy creature designs. And I felt they were a little bit, just very cliche, very generic looking characters. And a lot of characters in this movie are just very generic. And, but yeah, and then, like, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I didn't like. I wish it was a little bit darker. I could have felt it could have been a bit more darker and made Maleficent a bit more evil than she actually was. And, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find, it's hard to kind of figure out when you just see a movie what you have to talk about. But I mean, I liked it. I really liked, and overall, I really liked the movie. It was fun. It was a good fantasy movie, and it's kind of like Jack the Giant Slayer, where it's like, it's a good movie to show the kids. The kids will like it because this was cut to a PG, just to get the kiddies in. And it was a nice retelling of one of, you know, Disney's most famous villains. And it's interesting, I guarantee you the next con I go to, there's going to be a couple Maleficent cosplayers from the movie that are going to be there, I guarantee it. If you guys have already seen it, well, good for you, props. But I liked it. I would give it a solid 7. Again, much like Spider-Man 2, it is a solid 7. It's a good movie. It's a good retelling of a classic villain. It does have a few flaws, but nothing too picky or whatever. But, yeah, I liked it. So that's it for this review. We only went for about 8 minutes. But I liked it. It was fun and everything. But, yeah, that's it. I'm mumbling. I've got Jeff Goldblum syndrome. So, yeah, that's it, guys, for now. So, I can't wait to do another review or another pickup log or whatever. So, we'll, just, take a break from now. So, yeah. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video or the next review ever. And have a good fucking night. Take care.